Hello and welcome to Afternoon Tea with Karen. Let's see what's behind the Melbourne protests, part 2.
Angry scenes in Melbourne where pro-Palestinian protesters stormed a Labor Party conference, forcing the PM and Victorian Premier into hiding. Let's head now to 9. Melbourne reporter Stephanie Anderson with the latest. Steph, good morning. Their actions have been condemned.
They sure have, Clinton. Police are actually expecting that they'll be here again today for day 2 of that Labor State Conference. Yeah, you'd be hoping that there's some more officers here too, because yesterday they were very much overwhelmed by these protesters who not only heckled the MPs and the party rank and file as they entered the racecourse, but they then managed to get past security through a set of glass doors, up an escalator, and then lined up along the conference door that you just heard them banging on then. Now, all of the Labor Party members and MPs were on the other side. A lot of CFMEU unionists actually went and reinforced those locked doors, and as you say, the Premier's police stepped in and moved her out of her seat as well. Now, after the fact, Jacinta Allen tweeted saying she was disgusted by the actions. Bill Shorten also spoke to our cameras. Here's his thoughts on what they did.
It sounded like a small bunch of rat bags. You don't do your own cause any good storming through where we were minding the kids. I think everyday Australians will look at those antics and say, whatever you're selling, we don't want to buy.
What do we do? We're under attack! Stand up, fight back! What do we do? We're under attack! Stand up, fight back! What do we do? We're under attack! Stand up, fight back! What do we do? We're under attack! Stand up, fight back! What do we do? We're under attack! Stand up, fight back! Who built this city? Stand for you! Who built this city? Stand for you!
Celebrate the massive achievements that workers have achieved over many, many years, not just here in New South Wales, not just in Australia, but internationally. And you should all give yourselves a pat on the back for turning up today, remembering and reflecting on the struggles past, present and the future.
There is not enough time for me to explain to you the horrors that we have been witnessing and experiencing for the last 6.5 months of genocide, let alone 76 years of occupation. The last 6.5 months, what we've seen from Israel has been nothing short of terrorism. 40,000 Palestinians massacred, 72% are women and children. They've targeted healthcare workers, they've targeted journalists, they've targeted workers on the ground, they have targeted civilians, and there is proof. And as we approach the 15th of May, we mark 76 years of brutal colonial occupation. In the age of information, it is everyone's responsibility to learn about Palestine, to learn about history, to break through the Zionist propaganda that's been controlling the world order for the last 76 years. But that's not what I'm here to talk to you about today. I've seen incredible union support over the last 6.5 months, in particular from the MUA, in particular our comrade Paul Keating. But what I'm here to tell you today is it's not enough. It is not enough. We know that the establishments have tried to put workers on the fringe of society as if you guys don't have any power in our societies. But we know that's bullshit. You hold the power. You hold the power, and you can say no to apartheid Israel. You can say no to any kind of work that is complicit in the genocide and occupation of Palestinians. You have the power to stand up and take a stance against the genocidal and apartheid state of Israel.
A union and a government that does not care about doctors uncovering mass graves in Gaza, does not care about us missing our lunch breaks and having poor pay rates. So there are doctors patients being buried in mass graves in Gaza, and the list goes on. They don't even have water. They do not have oxygen, electricity. So a government that does not care about that does not care about us. So free, free, Palestine. Free, free, Palestine. Free, free, Palestine.
We say no to genocide. Unions, workers, unemployed.
First off, we've got Paul LeBlanc, who's a member of the International Socialist Organisation in the US. He's also the author of Lenin and the Revolutionary Party and this little series of books for Pluto of collected writings of Luxemburg, Lenin and Trotsky that he's edited. So he's going to speak first.
Thank you. Comrades, it's a genuine pleasure to be here with you, to be discussing the important issues that we're discussing in this mini-series within the Conference on Leninism in the 21st Century. I want to say so much, and I have 12 minutes and I've already used up at least 45 seconds. Oh no, wait. But I'm going to be speaking tonight also, and obviously this is a discussion that will continue between this session and tonight's session and beyond tonight's session. This is something that's going on in this organization, in other organizations all around the world. There's no question about the need for a revolutionary party rooted in Leninist perspectives, in my mind. We need that in order to accomplish what must be accomplished. The question is, or one question is, how such a party comes into being. How many of you are members of a Revolutionary Vanguard Party? Okay. Ha! That was a trick question. What I would argue is that my understanding of a Revolutionary Vanguard Party, that does not exist. That has yet to be brought into being. If we look at left-wing communism and infantile disorder, where Lenin talks about Revolutionary Party, he talks about three preconditions for a revolutionary party. One is that there must be a vanguard layer of the working class, a class-conscious layer of the working class. And there must be a correct revolutionary program, and not a perfect program. It seems to me that one could argue the SWP, certainly the ISO, have a pretty good program. Is it perfect? No. Does it need to be improved? Of course. I know that in the United States there is not a vanguard layer of the working class, unfortunately, that's class conscious. Three conditions: vanguard layer of the working class, revolutionary program, and contact with masses of workers, intimate contact with masses of workers. At the beginning of left-wing communism and infantile disorder, this is what he maps out as preconditions for that party. And without that, you end up with phrase-mongering and clowning, and it all falls flat. That's approximately a direct quote from Lenin. And so the task of revolutionary socialists is to help create the preconditions for the crystallization of such a party. And that doesn't exist now. My perception is, by the way, I used to have a different point of view. I knew I was part of the Revolutionary Vanguard. I was in a Revolutionary Vanguard Party, Socialist Workers' Party of the United States in the 1970s. But I hadn't absorbed, I hadn't understood Lenin. I'd read Lenin, I believed it, but I hadn't understood that. I didn't get that, what Lenin was saying there. I didn't understand that. But I think we must understand that. So that's one thing that we must understand as revolutionaries, as Leninists, the task facing us, the necessity of working to create such a party. I would argue that there is no nucleus of a revolutionary party in the United States or in Britain. I believe that comrades here are part of a future nucleus. There are comrades who are not here who are part of and there are comrades who aren't even comrades yet. They're not even revolutionaries yet. You know, that will have to come together, but it's not together now. I think that's one thing that we must understand. A second thing that we must understand is an understanding of the working class and what that means. And the working class that existed in the time of Lenin and Trotsky or James P. Cannon is gone. It doesn't mean that there's no working class, but that working class has decomposed. And there is a recomposition of the working class that's been taking place. And it looks different from the way it looked when Lenin and Trotsky were writing. Doesn't mean that Lenin and Trotsky and Luxemburg are irrelevant. They are very relevant. But what we have to do is figure out how to apply that to our reality. And to help build working class consciousness, understanding that there are different identities. I tell you, in the United States, the working class as a whole doesn't think of itself as the working class. It's middle class. It's not rich, it's not poor, somewhere in the middle. Okay? Now, it doesn't mean that it's not the working class, and there are elements of class consciousness. Many people identify around certain issues, environmental issues, or issues of war, or issues of racism, and so forth, different identities. And that's part of the class struggle. Class runs all through all of those issues and all of those identities. And we need to understand that. So I'm an anti-racist, I'm a feminist, I'm an environmental activist, I'm an anti-war person as part of being a worker, which I am. I sell my ability to work for a paycheck, like the majority of people in the United States. So that's part of the reality that we're dealing with in the United States, and I would imagine that there are some similarities here. So we have to be involved in struggles, education, socialist education, and struggle, social struggle of various movements and trade unions, although the majority of the working class is not in trade unions. But the class struggle goes beyond trade unions, and we have to be involved in all of that. I don't think I'm telling you anything that you don't know or that you don't agree with. There's common ground here, and there may be differences. But in any event, that's a key. Another key for us, it seems to me there are three things then. One is understanding Leninist Party, what it means and what that means in terms of our tasks. Understanding the nature of the working class and the class struggle. And I have not exhausted either of those topics. A third thing that we have to understand, and I think all of us do understand, at least on some level, is the centrality of democracy. That's what socialism is. It's ruled by the people over the economy. And it's much, much more. And I'll be talking about some of that this evening also, but it seems to me that is central.
And here's the Revolutionary Vanguard Party. I've read Anna Karenina. Anyway, that'll do. See you later. Bye.